Welcome back, coin enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into the fascinating story of the 1917 United Kingdom one penny, a coin minted during the heart of World War I. This isn't just a piece of bronze. It's a symbol of Britain's history, empire, and everyday life during one of the most challenging times of the 20th century. Stay tuned as we uncover its design, rarity, and the secrets that make this penny a true treasure in the world of coin collecting. Let's get the Satire at top 5 first up. The 1917 United Kingdom one penny is a significant coin that reflects not only the economic and numismatic history of Britain, but also the historical backdrop of World War I. It was struck during a time when the British Empire was deeply involved in global conflict, and coinage production had to meet both domestic and colonial needs. This penny was part of the pre-decimal British currency system, where 12 pennies made a shilling and 20 shillings made a pound. The penny was one of the most widely used denominations in daily transactions across the United Kingdom and its territories. The obverse front of the 1917 penny features the bust of King George V, who reigned from 1910 to 1936. His portrait, designed by Sir Bertram Mackennal, shows the king facing left, wearing an imperial crown and robes around the king's image. The Latin inscription reads, Georges vide jaribrit, oemen, Rex Fidef IND, IMP, which translates to George V, by the grace of God, King of all the Britons, Defender of the Faith, Emperor of India. The reverse side of the coin features the classic seated Britannia design by Leonard Charles Wyon. Britannia, the female personification of Britain, is shown seated facing right, holding a trident and shield bearing the Union Jack. The year 1917 is inscribed at the bottom of the reverse side, marking its mintage date. This design remained largely unchanged on pennies from 1860 until the decimalization in 1971. The coin was struck in bronze, a composition of 95% copper, 4% tin, and 1% zinc. Due to the war effort, however, the metal supply was affected, and some wartime pennies exhibit slightly different tones or wear patterns. Mintage of the 1917 penny was extremely high, with over 144 million coins produced. This high number was due to demand from both Britain and its colonies, where British currency circulated widely. Despite the large mintage, the 1917 penny is still sought after by collectors today. Coins in excellent condition are more valuable, as most circulated heavily and suffer wear and damage over time. A unique aspect of 1917 pennies is that no proof coins were issued for collectors that year. All coins were intended for general circulation, making uncirculated or mint-state examples quite rare. During this time, the Royal Mint was under pressure to maintain coin production despite wartime restrictions, including labor shortages, metal rationing, and energy constraints. The 1917 penny was minted in London, and no mint mark appears on the coin. Unlike some colonial or special issue coins, British pennies of this era were produced without distinguishing marks. The coin weighs 9.4 grams and has a diameter of 30.8 millimeters, making it a relatively large and heavy coin for everyday use, especially by today's standards. Coins from this period often exhibit patina, a natural darkening due to oxidation. Collectors often appreciate this patina as a sign of authenticity and age, though some prefer cleaned or glossy examples. One interesting detail is the presence of ghosting on some 1917 pennies. This happens when the king's portrait faintly appears on the reverse due to excessive striking pressure or die flaws, and such coins are of special interest to era collectors. The 1917 penny played a vital role in the economic stability of the British people during wartime. As prices rose and economies shifted, maintaining a reliable currency was crucial for morale and commerce. British pennies like the 1917 issue were also used in colonies such as India, South Africa, Australia, and the Caribbean, reinforcing the reach and power of the British Empire through its coinage. After World War I, the Royal Mint reviewed and adjusted its coinage operations, but the design of the penny remained unchanged until 1922, when minor modifications were made to die details. In the modern day, a 1917 UK penny in fine circulated condition typically sells for a modest amount, but coins in uncirculated or near uncirculated condition can fetch significantly higher prices at auctions or among numismatists. Overall, the 1917 British one penny is more than just a coin. It is a piece of wartime history, a symbol of Imperial Britain, and a fascinating collectible for those interested in numismatics and the legacy of British coinage. Next up, the 1921 penny coin from the United Kingdom is a fascinating piece of British numismatic history. Minted in the post-World War I era, a period marked by economic hardship, social change, and global transition. This coin carries not only the face of the British monarch, but also the burden and legacy of an empire in evolution. The obverse front of the 1920 penny features the effigy of King George V, who ruled from 1910 to 1936. His portrait was designed by Sir Bertram Mackennal, an Australian sculptor, and presents the king facing left, wearing a crownless profile and surrounded by Latin inscription. The inscription around King George V reads, Georges vide gerebrit, omen, rex fid def, ind, imp. This translates to George V, by the grace of God, King of all the Britons, Defender of the Faith, Emperor of India. It reflects Britain's vast imperial reach at the time. The reverse of the coin features Britannia, the female personification of Britain. Seated facing right, she holds a trident in one hand and a shield bearing the Union Jack in the other. This iconic imagery had been used on pennies since 1797, beneath Britannia since the year of minting, 1920. The reverse was designed by Leonard Charles Wyon, who inherited the task of continuing his father William Wyon's classic designs during Queen Victoria's era. Made of 95% copper, 4% tin, and 1% zinc, the 1920 penny is part of the pre-decimal British coinage system. Each penny weighed 9.45 grams and had a diameter of 30.8 millimeters, making it quite a large and heavy coin by modern standards. The 1920 penny marks a significant transition point for British coinage. While silver coins saw a reduction in purity that year, from sterling 0.925 to 0.500 fine silver, the bronze penny retained its composition, providing continuity in the base coinage. This period in British history was marked by post-World War I reconstruction. Britain was financially strained from the war effort, and this coin circulated in a time of inflation, unemployment, and shifting social structures. The 1920 penny was minted at the Royal Mint in London, which was a primary minting authority for the British Empire. Unlike some other years, there were no additional mint marks like H for Heaton or KN for Kings Norton. Over 84 million 1920 pennies were minted, making it a relatively common coin in circulation. However, the condition of these coins greatly affects their value today, with mint state examples being much rarer and highly sought after by collectors. Circulation of this penny was widespread, reaching not just the United Kingdom but many of its colonies, where British currency was used, including India, Australia, and parts of Africa and the Caribbean. Over time, many 1920 pennies became heavily worn due to extensive use, which makes well-preserved examples with sharp details and little wear, especially valuable to numismatists today. The 1920 penny is often found with signs of environmental wear or corrosion, especially if it spent time buried or in humid climates, which adds another layer of intrigue and challenge for collectors trying to find pristine examples. As with other British bronze pennies, the 1920 coin was demonetized in 1971, when the UK transitioned to decimal currency. It ceased to be legal tender after Decimal Day on February 15, 1971. Despite being demonetized, the 1920 penny remains a highly collectible item due to its historical value, attractive design, and tangible link to Britain's imperial past and King George V's reign. In the collector's market today, a circulated 1920 penny might only be worth a few dollars or pounds, but uncirculated or proof-like specimens can command much higher prices, sometimes exceeding 50 to 100 pounds depending on condition. This coin is also valued as par date sets or as a representative of early 20th century British coinage. Many collectors aim to complete full sets of George V pennies, making each date, including 1920, important in completing the collection. The 1920 penny is also a favorite educational piece among historians and teachers, as it can illustrate the social, political, and economic story of post-World War I Britain in a single object. Coin enthusiasts often use the 1920 penny to compare minting quality across eras, as its large surface makes it easier to appreciate the craftsmanship and detail in both the portrait and Britannia's figure. Ultimately, the 1921 penny coin remains a cherished relic of a bygone age, a token from a time when Britain was redefining itself after war, and coins were not just currency, but symbols of a nation's identity and imperial legacy. Next up, the 1929 one-penny coin of the United Kingdom is part of the long-running bronze penny series, which began in 1860 under Queen Victoria and continued until decimalization in 1971. This particular coin was struck during the reign of King George V, who ruled from 1910 until his death in 1936. The penny was an essential unit of British currency at the time, forming 1/12 of a shilling and 1/240th of a pound. It played a vital role in everyday commerce and was one of the most recognized coins in circulation. The obverse of the 1929 penny features the left-facing portrait of King George V. This portrait was designed by the renowned engraver Sir Bertram Mackennal, an Australian artist who produced several official effigies of the monarch. Around the king's portrait appears a Latin legend, Georges Vide Jure Brit, OMN, Rex FAD, Def IND, AMP, which translates to George V, by the grace of God, King of all the Britons, Defender of the Faith, Emperor of India. This inscription highlighted both his spiritual role and imperial authority. The reverse design depicts Britannia, the female personification of Britain, seated facing right. She holds a trident in her left hand and a shield with the Union Jack in her right. Britannia had been a consistent symbol on pennies since 1797, representing naval power and national pride. The denomination 1 penny is inscribed on either side of Britannia, and the year 1929 is shown at the bottom. This simple yet iconic design had remained largely unchanged since the 19th century, making the coin instantly recognizable. The 1929 penny was struck in bronze, an alloy of 95% copper, 4% tin, and 1% zinc. It measured 30.8 millimeters in diameter, weighed 9.45 grams, and had a plain edge. These specifications have been standard since 1860, ensuring consistency in coinage. At the time of minting, Britain was entering the early stages of the Great Depression, which began after the Wall Street crash of 1929. Economic difficulties influenced coin production, with the Royal Mint striking fewer coins in some years due to reduced demand. Despite these challenges, the 1929 penny was produced in large numbers for circulation. Exact mintage figures are estimated at over 47 million coins, meaning it was not a particularly rare issue when compared to other years. The Royal Mint at Tower Hill in London was responsible for striking these coins. By 1929, minting technology had advanced to a stage where coins could be produced with greater consistency and durability than in previous centuries. Circulation pennies such as the 1929 issue often suffer from heavy wear, given their constant use in transactions. Many surviving examples today appear in low grades, with smooth details and faded legends. However, higher-grade examples, especially those that were preserved carefully, are highly collectible. Numismatists value coins with sharp detail, lustrous surfaces, and minimal handling marks. In terms of collectability, the 1929 penny is considered a common date coin in circulated condition. Its value is modest in lower grades, often only worth a small premium above face value to collectors. In uncirculated condition, however, the 1929 penny can fetch significant prices at auction. Brilliantly struck examples with original mint luster are scarce, as few were preserved at the time of issue. Proof versions of the 1929 penny were not struck for public release, as proofs were only produced in certain key years. Therefore, collectors seeking special strikes must rely on circulation coins for their collections. The coin also carries historical significance as part of the broader narrative of British coinage. Under King George V, his reign saw several changes in design, but the penny remained largely traditional with Britannia as its symbol. The 1929 issue sits chronologically between the rarer 1926 modified effigy penny and the scarcer 1933 penny, one of the most famous British coins of all time. While the 1929 penny itself is not rare, it helps complete a historical timeline. Collectors often seek a complete date run of George V pennies, 1911 to 1936. The 1929 penny is a necessary piece in that collection, and thus maintains steady demand. Today, a typical circulated 1929 penny may be valued at only a few pounds, while higher grade examples can reach 20 to 100 pounds or more, depending on condition. Certified and slab coins in mint state can sell for much higher amounts. In summary, the 1929 United Kingdom 1 penny coin is not among the rarest or most valuable, but it remains an important historical artifact. It reflects the artistry of George V's reign, the enduring symbolism of Britannia, and the economic realities of interwar Britain. For collectors, it represents both a tangible link to the past and a key element of a complete British penny collection.